So we should be recording now.
Yep, it's flashing.
Great. So I'm talking to Margaret Shinn. Margaret, would you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Margaret Shinn with Legal Aid Services of Oklahoma. I'm the Community Education and Pro Se Coordinator here at Legal Aid.
Great. And you have a statewide website that has self-help forms on it. What sort of self-help forms do you have on your statewide website?
We do. We have, the first one we did was guardianship of a minor, and we just finished up our guardians yearly reports. We have motion to enforce non-custodial parent visitation, garnishment. We've partnered with a couple of other groups nationwide who've done things like, I guess Maryland did the identity theft letters, which has been really helpful for our folks. And then also the stateside legal has a number of really good veterans resources. We pulled in some FEMA. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of natural disasters here in Oklahoma with tornadoes in the last year or two, and so we have FEMA appeals as well.
Got you. And you made a video that you put on your website called Legal Self-Help Forms Explained. Why did you feel like you had to make a video?
Well, you know, it's our administrative office, the courts, has some forms, and they'll hand people a form and say, what's a plaintiff, what's a defendant? And so I think people are used to somebody handing them a piece of paper, and they have to fill it out by hand, and they have to know all these terms, and they just end up with a form. Well, because the way the Law Help Interactive forms are created and developed, we have the opportunity to give people instructions and really send them on their way with a really good set of forms customized to what they need. But it's not fill out a form. It's a little different. So they have to know to come to the website and click on the information and learn a little bit, and then the forms are developed. And so we wanted to give people an idea what they were in for up front, and also to show them how easy it is to use.
Great. And so who did you reach out to help you make the video?
We were fortunate to work with a young man named Joshua Gunn at Planet Nutshell. They do explainer videos or just telling story videos, and I found him online. I found the resources. In fact, I talked to a bunch of people across the country who do similar types of resources, but was really pleased when we reached an agreement with Josh to do our video.
And so you had this concept. We want a video that helps explain legal self-help forms. Honestly, that sounds like something that I would probably just slap together. But what you did is clearly far more thoughtful. What was the process that you went through to create this?
Well, I thought I knew what I was doing too. I thought, well, you just do this and you get some pictures and you animate it. Sure, it sounds easy. Well, the first conversation I had with Josh, he said, just trust me. I've done this before, and there's a process. So kind of harkens you back to days when if you've ever worked in the mental health community, everybody says, trust the process. Trust me, there's a process, and it really does work. And Josh was really purposeful and directed about what he did. And the very first thing we did was I spent some time talking about our project and what we were doing and why we were doing it, and really explaining the lay of the land to him about what's an online form and why we did it and how it came together and how it helped people. So he spent some time first just in discovery of what are you doing, listening. And then we began to think about the script. I would have gone right to the storyboard, but the script is really so important. So he has a great way of telling a story and telling it succinctly and hitting the real high points of what people need to know to really accomplish your task. So we went through the scripting process, then we went to storyboards where we really talked about generally how we wanted to depict that picture of what we're telling people about. And then we went through a process of choosing characters. And I never really thought about how important the buildings looked or what the printer looked like. And so we really went through how we wanted the characters to appear and why not. So he was really patient to work with several renditions. And we had a group to talk it through. So that really helped a lot. But it was thorough and it was efficient because we didn't waste a lot of time going here and there. And the process yielded what I think is a really good product that tells people in 90 seconds how you do an online form.
It takes a lot of work to make something that's only 90 seconds long and looks professionally put together. It's probably harder to make it 90 seconds than it would have been to make it 9 minutes, right?
I think so, and it's hard to sit through more than 90 seconds when you really think about what you're willing to listen to these days. 90 seconds, about it.
That's probably true. What is was there something about the process that surprised you?
You know how hard it was to get a script
Mm.
to a certain number of words. He knew 100 and however many words. It was really hard to think through, and it kind of goes back to plain language. You've the pioneer in plain language here, but thinking through how to describe something in as few words as you can, but yet really clearly identify what you're talking about.
And how did you so who did you test this with when you had your nearly finished product? Who did you test with?
We tested with partners, first of all, other people on the Self-Help Forums project, and I took it to our staff, and I took it to libraries, and I took it to a courthouse and showed a couple of judges because I was having a hard time getting the judges to understand the project, even though had been working with them for a while. Asking a judge to actually click on a form and do it themselves is easier than actually getting them to do that. And so once I was able to show them the video, it was kind of like a light went on, and they said, "Oh, okay, I get it now."
That's great. You made this video plain language to make sure everyone can understand it, and perhaps the people it might have influenced the most were the judges.
And the pictures help.
Yeah.
The pictures help.
So if you were to do all this over again, is there anything you do differently?
Wow. I don't think so. It was such an easy process, not because of anything I did, but because of the way the professional folks at Planet Nutshell knew what they were doing. And so I would not cut corners. I would go straight to somebody who's clearly a good storyteller and has done this before, rather than trying. I mean, if you have the talents in-house to do it yourself, that's great. But I'd go straight to a professional.
And how did you find them?
I looked online. I called around. I looked around. I talked to different folks in the movie production and video production field locally, and then folks I knew across the country. And then I started just looking for animation studios. And once I found two or three, I began checking references and looking at resources and having a conversation with them individually. And it was clear to us that Planet Nutshell and Josh Gunn were the folks to use.
Great. Well, it looks really good. And frankly, you identified a need I didn't realize was there, which is to explain self-help forums themselves. We've all done work within our own forms and tools to try to make them obvious, but I hadn't thought of saying to people, here's what a self-help forum is and why this stuff is all here. So congratulations on doing something on the internet that I hadn't seen before. It's really hard to be the first one at anything out there in digital land. And thank you very much for your time. I think I'll follow up with you about some statistics and that sort of thing, but I think this is a great example. So thank you for talking with me about it.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye.
Okay.